Okay, hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing about item analysis. Okay, so bakit nga ba natin kailangang pag-aralan ang item analysis? As teachers, we should be knowledgeable enough in assessing the effectiveness of the test questions that we are including in our examination. And will not be able to do that if we are not going to conduct an item analysis. Okay? Now, item analysis, our discussion talks about definition of item analysis and the steps of item analysis. Now, first bullet, we have here develop a table of specifications. And of course, I already uploaded a video about TOS, so please watch it and comprehend the content of that video lesson. Okay? Construct test items. Of course, this is also included in the activity that you should have enough knowledge in constructing test items. The content of this is already uploaded in our PDF, and the file name is additional readings. Okay, please check your MS Teams. Now, we also have here test taking, arranging of scores, determining the upper group and the lower group. Subtopics itong mga to. Now, let's start with the item analysis. Of course, here, just like what I read a while back, here are the different contents of item analysis. Now, as defined, item analysis is the process of examining the student's response to individual item in the test. Okay? You are going to examine each of the responses of the students to individual item in the test. It consists of different procedures for assessing the quality of the test items given to the students. Okay? Later on, you'll be understanding what is this item analysis at ano nga ba yung kahalagahan niya sa pagdating sa paggawa ng ating mga test questions. Now, let me move on. Types of quantitative item analysis. There are three common types. Actually, item analysis can be classified into two, the quantitative and the qualitative. But we are focusing for right this time, we're focusing on the quantitative item analysis. Okay, now here are the different, okay, or the three common types of quantitative item analysis, which provide teachers with three different types of information about individual test items. These are difficulty index, discrimination index, and response options analysis. Now let's start. Okay, this is supposed to be one, of course. In the quantitative item analysis, you should know what is this difficulty index. Okay, it refers to the proportion of the number of students in the upper and lower groups who answered an item correctly. Okay, by having this difficulty index, malalaman natin kung ilan sa mga estudyante natin ang nakakuha. Okay? Among those students na mataas yung scores, ilan sa kanila ang nakakuha ng item number 1? Ilan ang nakakuha ng tamang sagot sa item number 1? Now, doon sa ating mga lower group naman, doon sa mga group of students na mababa sa exam, ilan ang nakakuha ng tamang sagot sa item na iyon? Okay? Or item number 1. That's just an example. The larger the proportion, the more students who have learned the subject is measured by the item. Okay? Take note of that. To compute the difficulty of an item, use the formula. This is, of course, still number 1. This is the formula of the difficulty index. Okay? Ma'am, ano po yung difficulty index formula na yan? Itong DNF or DF, of course, it stands for difficulty index. The N is the number of students selecting item correctly from the upper and the lower group. So, ilan ang nakakuha? among the students, okay, among the students na nag-take ng test, ilan ang nakakuha ng tamang sagot sa item number 1? Okay, how about item number 2, 3, and so on? So, ibig sabihin, kay item analysis, per item, i-check natin, i-evaluate natin kung yung item na yun ay may potential na i-retain, i-revise, or i-discard. Or tanggalin na. Kasi, panggulo lang siya or hindi naman talaga siya effective para i-assess yung learning ng bata. Now, N or the capital letter N is the total number of students who answered the test. Okay? Ulitin ko. The formula of difficulty index is DF is equals to N over capital N. Okay? DF, difficulty index, kung ilan yung nakakuha ng tamang sagot sa mga nag-take ng test from the upper and the lower group. Later on, we will be computing how to get the upper and lower group. Okay? Divided by the total of number of students who answered the test. I hope you get a point of it. Now, okay, of course, we finished that. Level of difficulty. So here is the table which shows the level of difficulty of an item. So to determine the level of difficulty of an item, find first the difficulty index using the formula and identify the level of difficulty using the range given below. Since alam nyo na ang pagkuha ng difficulty of index is N over capital N, ito naman yung range natin sa pagkuha ng difficulty index. Okay? Para malaman natin kung ano mga bang ibig sabihin kapag nakuha natin tong value na to or yung index range natin na tinatawag. Okay? Now, if it's 0.00 to 0.20, yung item na yan ay sobrang hirap. 0.21 to 0.40, mahirap. Okay? 0.41 to 0.60, sakto lang. Okay? Average or moderately difficult. 0.61 to 0.80 is madali, of course, easy. And 0.81 to 1, very easy. Take note of that. Ibig sabihin, habang tumataas yung value ng difficulty index, mas nagiging madali yung item na yon. So, ibig sabihin, if mataas ang difficulty index nung item na yon, ay may possibility na mas maraming makakuha ng item na yon kasi super dali niya. Now, the higher the value of the index of difficulty, the easier the item is. Okay? Hence, more students got the correct answer and more students mastered the content measured by that item. Now, let me move on to the second one, which is the discrimination index. The power of the item to discriminate the students between those who scored high and those who scored low in the overall test. So what's the difference between the two? Itong discrimination naman, by just doing the discrimination index, malalaman natin ilan ba sa mga estudyante natin yung talagang nag-aral compared doon sa mga hindi nag-review. Kasi we can actually discriminate it by doing these discrimination index sa kanilang sa bawat items. Now, in other words, it is the power of the item to discriminate the students who know the lesson and those who don't know the lesson. Kaya nga, if you notice, whenever I give assessment or quizzes, especially when it's somehow multiple choice, I am adding distractor. Okay? Especially pag matching type, di ba? Naglalagay ako ng distractors because that is one effective way to attract those who did not review the lesson. Pero dapat, kahit na distractor yan, may potential pa rin siya mag-attract ng mga test takers. Okay? Discrimination index is the basis of measuring the validity of an item. This index can be interpreted as an indication of the extent to which overall knowledge of the content area or the mastery of the skills is related to the response on an item. Now, we have here three types of discrimination index. Tandaan nyo to ha. So, meron tayong tatlo. Una, positive discrimination. Pangalawa, negative discrimination. At ang pangatlo ay zero discrimination. Ano yung positive discrimination? Since na-classify natin yung mga estudyante na may matataas na scores at nakikita sila sa upper group at yung mga mabababa ang scores na nasa lower group, if mas marami ang nakakuha ng tamang sagot sa item na yon sa upper group, it's called positive discrimination. Okay? Kasi expect mo naman talaga na mas marami dapat ang makakuha ng tamang sagot doon sa mga group ng estudyante na matataas ang scores. Pero, pag mas maraming nakakuha ng item na yon doon sa lower group, ibig sabihin, that's a negative discrimination because the students from the lower group get mostly of them get the correct answer in that item. I hope you're getting the point of it, okay? 3 naman, if of course, zero discrimination happens when the number of students in the upper and lower group who answer the test correctly are equal if it's balanced, parehas. Ibig sabihin, yung test, it cannot distinguish the students who perform in the overall test and the students whose performance are very poor. Okay? Kasi balance nga. So, zero discrimination siya. Now, this is the formula of the discrimination index. CUG minus CLG is equals to D. Huwag kayong malilito. Where D, I is equals to discrimination index value. Okay? Yung DI na yan, itinatawag natin yan, discrimination index. Ano naman yung CUG? Ito yung mga estudyante from the upper group na nakakuha ng tamang sagot. Okay? Kaya siya, CUG is those students who are in the upper group who got the correct answer. Of course, in opposite, CLG naman, ito yung mga estudyante na nakakuha ng tamang sagot from the lower group. Now, number of the students selecting the correct answer in the lower group. I repeat, in the creating test questions, mas may potential yung item natin if mas marami ang nakakuha niyo ng tamang sagot sa upper group than the lower group. Kasi if it's in the upper group, kung saan mostly nakuha nila yung tamang sagot, that's positive discrimination. If it's in the lower group, that's negative discrimination. And if it's fair, balance, that is zero discrimination. Okay? Now, of course, we have here number of students in either lower group or upper group, that is the letter D. Yun yung nasa baba niya. Ito siya. Okay? Number of students in either the lower group or upper group. Ibig sabihin, since nahati yung dalawa, di ba, meron tayong constant sa pagkuha ng upper and lower. Yung D na yan is yung total number of students ng upper or lower group. Hindi yung sum. Okay? Hindi yung sum. Now, here is the example of difficulty index natin. Mag-solve ngayon tayo. Meron ako dito halimbawa kung saan natin makikita ang pag-compute ng difficulty index at discrimination index. So, compute the difficulty index. If you can notice here, itong mga to class, itong mga to, yan yung mga options natin. Yan yung mga choices natin. So, sa test question na yan, 5 yung choices. A, B, C, D, E. Itong letter B, yan ang correct answer kasi ayan o, may legend na. May asterisk. Okay? So, upper group and then the lower group. So, probably, if you can notice, N is equals to 10 plus 4 is equals to 14. Okay? Ito siya, ito. Ibig sabihin, anong ibig sabihin yan? Sa letter B or sa correct answer na yan, 10 ang nakakuha ng tamang sagot sa upper group and then 4 naman sa lower group. Kaya pinag-add natin. 'Di ba? Formula natin yan. N is equals to 40. Ma'am, bakit po 40? Ibig sabihin, 40 lahat ang nag-take ng test. Okay? Nag-take ng test. So, let's try to compute. For instance, 3 plus 10, 13, plus 4, 17 plus 3, that's 20. 4 plus 4, 16 plus 8, 16, plus 4 is equals to 20. Ayan o. Ibig sabihin, sa upper group, itong 40 na yan yung total number of students na nag-take ng test. Ngayon, hinati nila sa dalawa. Actually, it depends upon the university's manual or the school manual. Or, if paano mo kukunin ng upper group and the lower group. Others are using 27%. Others are dividing it into 2. Okay? Now, in this case, 40 yung total number of students natin. Hinati sa dalawa, kaya ang upper group natin is 20. Ito yung top 20 na may mataas na scores sa exam or sa quiz. Ito naman, ito yung 20 na may mababang scores na nakarank na. Ibig sabihin, inayos or inarrange ang scores from lowest to highest or highest to lowest. And then, when top 20 nasa upper group, top 20 mula sa baba ay nasa lower group. Now, here's the difficulty index. N is equals to 14. And capital N, the force 40 yan, where 14 divided by 40 is 0.35. Okay, 0.35 siya in decimal. Tapos in percent, of course, we have 35% in percentage. Yan ang difficulty index. Okay? So for instance, ang estudyante natin ay 30 or 30. If we're going to divide it by 2, if of course ang rule natin is i-divide natin sa 2, if in this example, 15 yon, okay? 15 yung estudyante natin. Same process lang din dyan. Pero kailangan natin ng ganitong data sa table bago natin ma-solve ang difficulty index. Now, let's move on to the discrimination index. Okay? Okay. Bago tayo pumunta sa discrimination, if nakikita niyo itong 0.35, kung ating i-describe ang ibig sabihin ng 0.35, i-check natin siya sa index range table natin. If you can notice, 0.35 ay nandito siya sa second row. Ibig sabihin, ang item na kinumpute natin ay difficult, mahirap. Okay? Now, let's move on to the discrimination index. Level of discrimination, index range. Okay, so 0.19 and below, that's poor item. Ibig sabihin, tanggalin mo na. Or kailangan mo talaga siyang ayusin. 0.22, 0.29, marginal item, revise it. 0.30 to 0.39, good siya, pero kailangan mo pang improve. Okay? 0.40, very good. Wala ka nang kailangan gawin kasi tumpak na yan. Tama na yung item na yan. Okay? So, pagtunan mo na yung ibang items mo na hindi very good. Okay? Ulitin ko, 0.19 and below, that's poor. 0.20 to 0.29, marginal, needs some revision. 0.30 to 0.39, good siya, pero improve mo pa. 0.40, that's very good item. Okay? Next. Ayan. So, na-solve na natin yan kanina. Now, take a look at this example kay discrimination index. Okay? So, this is an example. Same lang ng table ng example ito, pero for this time, discrimination index naman ang kunin natin. Paano naman yung discrimination index? Of course, I already told you a while back that we have to subtract those students who got the correct answer from the upper group minus those students who got the correct answer from the lower group. If you can notice here, the students from the upper group who got the correct answer are 10 and lower group 4 naman. So, of course, discrimination index is CUG minus CLG over D, where D1, 20. Bakit 20 po, ma'am? if you notice, ilan ba ang total number of students, okay, na kasama sa upper group? Di ba tig-20 sila? Kanina, sa difficulty index, total from the upper and lower. Ito naman, it's either yung total number of students sa upper lang or sa lower lang kasi that's the same naman. So, 20. 20, 10 minus 4, that's of course 6, and 20 nasa denominator natin. So, 6 over 20, if we're going to divide that, kung isusolve natin siya, of course, ganyan. Kung ano yung nasa numerator, yun yung nasa loob. Kung ano yung nasa baba, nasa labas. Okay? So, of course, yan, di natin kayang kunin ang 20 sa 6. So, of course, you're gonna put 0 and you're gonna put decimal point. 60 divided by 20. So, that's 3, right? 3 times 20, that's 60, and 0. So, 0 times 20, that's 0. So, ayan na. And it's 0. You notice here, 0.30 sa decimal. Ngayon, bakit siya naging 30%? Times mo lang yan sa 100 para maging percentage. Okay, so 0.30 times 100, that's 30%. Ang discrimination index natin in decimal is of course 0.30. Huwag niyong titignan tong 0.30 sa table ng difficulty index kasi iba yun. Kung ano yung sagot niyo sa discrimination index, tingnan niyo yun sa discrimination table. Okay? Or discrimination level. So 0.30 yan. Saan kaya siya? Ito, 0.19 and below? Hindi, di ba? 0.30 yan. 0.20 and 29? Hindi rin. Okay? No. No. 0.30, sakto. Ibig sabihin, yung item ay reasonably good item but possibly for improvement. Di ba? Doon, ibig sabihin, dalawa yung ating description sa item na yun na sinolve natin. Una, difficult yung item. Pangalawa, good siya pero kailangan pa nating i-improve. So these are the description or of the item that we computed or we evaluated. Now, after nating ma-compute ang difficulty index at discrimination index, of course, I want you to think about analysis of response options. Ibig sabihin, each of the item is somehow evaluated. Alam natin kung yun nga, iuulitin ba natin? Halimbawa, nagbigay tayo ng item sa quiz or somehow nagbigay tayo ng item doon sa ating pina-quiz or pina-exam. Makikita natin kung yun ba ay deserve ng item na yun na ma-retain or dapat bang tanggalin na lang o kaya mas i-enhance pa natin yung item na yun na sinama natin sa assessment or sa quiz or exam. Okay? Now, aside from identifying the difficulty index and discrimination index, another way to evaluate the performance of the entire test item is through the analysis of the response options. It is very important to examine the performance of each option in a multiple choice item. Through this, you can determine whether the disruptors or incorrect options are effective or attractive to those who do not know the correct answer. Okay? Masasabi natin na effective yung ating distractor or yung mga panggulo na choice natin if marami ang pumili dun sa distractor na yun from the lower group. Okay? And it's still attractive siya doon sa mga estudyante na hindi nila alam ang sagot. Kasi kung yan ay parang, let's say, walang pumili sa kanya doon sa item na yon, choice na yon, option na yon, ibig sabihin hindi ganun ka-effective yung distractor natin. Okay? Now, here are the steps, of course. First and foremost, you have to arrange the scores from highest to lowest. So, kung ang estudyante mo na nag-take ng test ay 30, arrange mo muna from highest to lowest. Okay? 50, arrange it from highest to lowest. Number 2, separate the scores in the upper group and lower group. You can do it naman itong number 1 sa Excel. Okay? Meron naman tayong ways paano mag-arrange ng scores from highest to lowest. Yung value niya. 2, separate the scores in upper group and lower group. Ayan na yun. May mga pamamaraan tayo nakalagay dito sa pagsaseparate ng upper and lower. Okay? If a class consists of 30 students who takes an exam, arrange the scores from highest to lowest, then divide them into two groups. So, possibly, we can just divide it into two. Parang yung ginawa natin kanina sa example ng difficulty at discrimination. The highest scores belong to the higher group and the lowest score belong to the lower group. Ngayon, paano kapag yung pang 20 ay parehas doon sa pang 20, let's say 30 sila. Paano kapag yung pang 15 ay parehas yung score niya sa pang 16, 17? Anong ibig kong sabihin? Halimbawa, ang nakuha niya ay 1 to 30, 13 students, 1 to 50 yung exam. Ang nakuha niya ay let's say 40, ganyan. Yung pang 15, 40, pang 16, 40, pang 17, 40 din. Regardless kung nag-tie sila or I mean, pare-pareha sila ng score, basta yung pang 15. 15 yung kunin mo. Sa upper group, 15 din sa lower group. Okay? Now, other literatures, ito na yung sinasabi ko sa inyo nagiging constant, depende yun sa manual. We have here 27%, 30%, and 33% of the students for the upper group and the lower group. However, in the LET, the test developers always use 27. So, yun yung gagamitin natin. Yun yung constant. Okay? So, of the students who participated in the examination for the upper group and then the lower group. So, halimbawa, 16 estudyante mo. So, 60 times 0.27. Okay? 60 times 0.27. Hindi mo siya pwedeng i-multiply na naka-percentage. Kailangan mo siyang i-decimal. So, halimbawa, 60 yung estudyante mo, you have to multiply it to the decimal, to this one in decimal na. So, 0.27. Okay? Kung ilan yung makuha natin, 0.27. Okay? Ayan, halimbawa, 0 times 7, that's 0. 6 times 7, 43. 42. 6 times 7. Okay? And then 0 times 2. Yan, wait naman. Okay, if you can notice here, para i-assure natin, 60 times 0.27, 16.2. Tingnan natin, 6 times 7, 42. 2 times 0, that is 0, of course. 6 times 2, that's 12. Ayan. 0, 2, 4 plus 2, that is 6. And 1. Ilan yung decimal number? 2.2. So, 16.20. Ma'am, ano yung 16.20? Yan yung, so, hindi naman pwedeng hatiin yung tao, di ba? I mean, yung katawan ng tao. So, anong gagawin natin? I-round off natin siya into whole number. 16.20. Okay? This is lower than 5. So, retain. 16 or do not add 1. So, 16 here. 16, top 16, doon sa 60 na nag-exam, top 16, na may matataas na scores, sila yung magiging upper group mo. Tapos yung pinakamababa, na 16, sila yung nasa lower group mo. Okay? Now, number 3, count the number of those who chose the alternatives in the upper and lower group for each item and record the information using the template. So, if you can see here, upper group, halimbawa, okay, ang tamang sagot dyan ay letter C. Okay, ilan ang nagsagot ng A? Ito yung ating mga other options. Pwede silang maging distractors din. Okay? Distractors natin sila. Halimbawa, ilan yung nagsagot sa letter A from the upper group? So, 16 lang dapat. Yan, 16 dito, 16 dito. Dapat pag plinas natin yung mga estudyanteng nakakuha or nagsagot ng mga letters na yan, 16 ang kanyang total. Kung 60 yung estudyante natin. Okay? Now, so please remember that. And of course, ayan. Compute the value of the difficulty index and the discrimination index gamit yung formulang binigay ko kanina. And also the analysis of each response in the distractors. Okay, ibig sabihin, effective ba yung, halimbawa, ang nakakuha dito out of 16 ay 10. Tapos, dito, 2 lang. Tapos, isa dito, isa, 10 plus 1, that's 11 plus 2, 13, 14. 2 dito sa E. Effective pang distractor si A. Tapos, ang nakakuha dito, or ang nagsagot sa A dito, ay let's say 5. Diba? Mas maraming nalito sa upper group kaysa sa lower group. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Of course, we can describe that or we can assess it using the analysis of each response. I'll be showing that later too. Now, make an analysis for each item na tulad ng ginawa natin kanina. Okay? Aside from identifying the difficulty index and discrimination index, another way to evaluate the performance of the entire task item is through the analysis of the response options. It is very important to examine the performance of each option in multiple choice item. Through this, you can determine whether the destructors are incorrect or incorrect options are effective or attractive to those who do not know the correct answer. Analyzing the incorrect options allow the teachers to improve the test items so that it can be used again in the future. Okay? Now, ito yung sinasabi natin kanina na analysis of response options. See, kanina, sinolve natin ang difficulty index at discrimination. And here are the destructors then. So kanina, ang tamang sagot ay B. If you can still remember. A is only 35 of the examinees got the correct answer. Hence, the item is difficult. See? Kanina, 0.35 ang difficulty index natin. So, ang ating conclusion ay the item is difficult. Ang B naman, more students from the upper group got the answer correctly, hence has a positive discrimination. Ma'am, saan yan? Kung babalikan natin yung example natin here, ayan o, 10 yung nakakuha ng estudyante ng tamang sagot from the upper group and then 4 lang sa lower group. Ibig sabihin, positive kasi mas maraming nakakuha ng mataas doon sa mga batang top scorers kaysa sa baba, kaysa sa lower group. Okay? Balikan natin yon. C. Retain daw natin ang option A, C, tsaka E. Bakit? Most of the students who did not perform well in the overall examination selected it. Those option most students from the lower group. Okay? So if you can see here, most of the students who did not perform well in the overall examination selected it. Mas maraming pumili sa choices na yan from the lower group. Okay? Ibig sabihin, good siya, effective siyang pampalito. Saan yun? ECE daw. Ayan. See? I know 4, mas mataas sa 3. 8, tsaka 4 dito. Okay? Ang medyo kakaiba na, if mas maraming pumili sa upper group, you have to revise something. You have to improve your item somehow, or yung distractors natin or options natin. Now, conclusion, retain the test item but change option D. Make it more realistic to make it effective for the upper and lower groups. At least 5% of the examinees choose the incorrect answer. At least 5% of the examinees choose the incorrect answer. So, ibig sabihin, dito, ayan. So, kailangan daw nating i-revise yung option D. Bakit? Tingnan nyo. Walang pumili doon. Walang nalito. Walang na-attract doon sa ating choice or sa option D natin. Dapat merong malilito dyan. At least 5% daw ng total number of test takers somehow from the upper group and then the lower group. Kaso wala dyan. Kaya kailangan daw natin, anong sabi dito? Kay analysis, kailangan nating i-change itong option D. Okay? Take note of that. Okay, here's the reason why. Ito yung sinasabi natin, 35%, ito siya, pasok siya dito sa second row. Only 35% of the examinees got the answer correctly. Hence, the item is difficult. Ang letter B naman natin na conclusion, ito siya, pinakita ko na sa inyo kanina. More students from the upper group got the answer correctly. Hence, it has a positive discrimination. And of course, ang C natin na conclusion, retain. Ibig sabihin, ulitin mo lang. Okay? A, C, and E. Bakit? Maraming nalito pa rin sa kanya at pumili. Ayan o. Maraming pumili sa option A, C, and E. Diba? Ang daming pumili. Sana all pinipili. Okay, next, let's move on to number 4. Conclusion. Ayan. So, at least daw 5% ng mga examinees ang pumili sa option na yun. Kaya lang, kay D, walang pumili. Di ba? Parang D. Parang kang D. Walang pumili. Hindi, joke lang. So, anyway, ito yung ating conclusions dito. So, at least 5% of the examinees choose the incorrect answer. Yun yung ating tatandaan. So, since walang pumili dyan, kailangan nating palitan. Lagyan natin yan ng ibang distractor. Okay? I hope you get it the point. Okay? Now, ulitin ko ha, before ko ipakita yung application time natin, take note that you please always read the direction, okay? Or here, okay? If somehow, nagbigay ako ng isang activity at nakalagay doon na use the 27% to get the upper group and lower group, use the 27%. Okay, so for instance, 15 estudyante mo, tapos kukunin mo yung upper and lower group, just multiply 0.27 to 60. Or 50, I should say. Kung 40 naman, tapos hindi ko naman sinabing gamitin mo yung 27%, just divide it into 2. But since in let, ay sabi nga kanina sa ating discussion, usually they are using the 27%, use it here in our application. Okay? So, compute in our application, compute the difficulty and discrimination index. Compute the difficulty and discrimination index of a task item. Number 6, administered to 40 students in statistics class. Ilang students? 40. Anong item? Number 6. 27% of the students belong to the upper group and 27% belong to the lower group. So, of course, we have here constant 27%. There are 5 students from the upper group who got the item correctly and 9 from the lower group who got the item right. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? 5 ang nakakuha ng tamang sagot sa upper group and then sa lower group naman 9. First, na kailangan yung gawin, you have to compute for the difficulty index. Okay? The second one, you have to define what is the define or state or write here the difficulty level based doon sa ating table. C, compute for the discrimination index. I-base nyo siya dito sa question or situation natin. D, what is the discrimination level? And E, is item number 6 a good item? I-reason out nyo based doon sa ating table. And of course, what will you do with item number 6? Are you going to retain it, revise it, or improve it, or discard? Tanggalin mo na lang. Gawa ka ng ibang item mo. Okay? So that's it for this time. Please answer these ones so that you can actually, let's say, cope up with those lessons or with those concepts that we tackled. Okay? In case you have questions, you can just ask me via PM or send me a message sa ating group chat. Okay? Thank you, everyone. And for the activity about this one, I'll be uploading it in our MS Teams. Pag-practice nyo muna ang ating application. Ayan. So, thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye and good luck sa ating exam and quiz. Bye!